Good morning, 7th grade. Happy Wednesday. I hope that everything is going all right for you at home. Just a quick reminder, I sent you a Jupiter message on Monday about your homeroom grades. So make sure that you check in on that. You're going to earn points for stopping by the Clearfield Street table or checking in with Father Kellner on a home visit or sending me or another adult a Jupiter message or Google Classroom comment to let us know how things are going, how everyone at your family is doing. So just make sure that you're checking in on that and keeping in touch with us during this time. What we're going to do today is we're going to jump into the answers for choosing the right word, Unit 10, which is page 131 to 132. And then we're going to give you some hints and directions on synonyms and antonyms, which is the next section. Yesterday, all together, we practiced numbers 1 through 3. I'm just going to go through, pause right before the word, say it loudly and clearly, and then move on. I don't want to waste everyone's time by really in-depth explaining every single one, so feel free to add a comment or send me a message if there's some that you have questions about. Number 4. After winning the award for Best Actress, she joyously lavished praise on everyone who had worked with her on the movie. The campaign to eliminate pollution will prove futile unless it has full public support. He amazed us by reaching into the pile of clutter on his desk and pulling out the exact piece of paper he wanted. I discovered a really cool store with all kinds of surplus Army and Navy equipment, Joel told his friends excitedly. I sometimes think that he enjoys being sick and having everyone wait on him, sympathize with him, and pamper him. When he said he would beard the lion in his lair, he merely meant that he was going to have it out with the boss. What a difference between the timidity of the typical freshman and the know-it-all confidence of a senior. He is notorious for his habit of taking small loans from his best friends and then conveniently forgetting about them. Even the toughest critics have been lavish in their praise of the new movie. The first thing Rick and Maria do when they enter a room is to clutter it with their jackets, shoes, backpacks, books, electronic equipment, and pencils. When I think back to my days of basic training, I can almost hear the drill sergeant bellowing commands across the field. It would be impossible to dismantle our system of governmental checks and balances without destroying American democracy. We're now on page 132, number 16. The courts of many Renaissance princes were jammed with parasites, toadies, and other idle hangers-on. The sudden thunderstorm made a botch of the picnic, forcing us to flee for cover and soaking most of our food. After buying all the supplies for the club party, we were delighted to find that we had a grand surplus of 65 cents. The best way to avoid those grueling cram sessions just before the exams is to do your work steadily all term long. I'm going to read that one again because it's really important. The best way to avoid those grueling cram sessions just before the exams is to do your work steadily all term long. Number 20. Their record is 100% consistent. They have managed to botch every job they have undertaken. My experience has been that people who cut corners on small matters will also shirk their obligations. We who live in the United States today are the chief beneficiaries of the rich heritage of freedom left to us by the framers of the Constitution. Ever since I was bitten by a stray mutt years ago, I have had a morbid fear of all dogs. She was indeed fortunate to find herself working under a person who was hospitable to her novel ideas. Most presidents don't like to exercise their veto power often. So there you go, numbers 4 through 25. If there were a couple that maybe you were really sure about your answer, some of them were a little bit trickier. I didn't pause the way that I sometimes do in class and go over those conflicts. But feel free to send me a message if there are some that are really confusing to you, and I'd love to talk about it and figure it out. There's always room for different interpretations, and I want to encourage you guys to be curious and to question what you see. We are going to go ahead and take a look at synonyms and antonyms. Now, you guys know what the directions are. You don't need me to go over them with you. We've been practicing it for 9 units now. So we're going to go ahead and just look at each of those bold words, and I'm going to check and see if there are any that we might find tricky to understand without having that definition in front of us. Cautiously inspected the decayed old building. Now I know that some things that decay are old leaves or fallen trees. So decay, I think, probably means falling apart, rotting away, has that kind of context to it. Took up acting to overcome their fearfulness. You can go ahead and break that word apart into chunks. I know that if you don't know what it is already, you'll be able to figure it out that way. May fumble the assignment if not careful. Now, those of you who are familiar with football terms are going to recognize this one. It means drop or really mess up. Was reluctant to coddle the spoiled child any further. Now, I challenge you because even if you don't quite know what coddle means, you are going to know what the context of the spoiled child is. So try and use those context clues to figure that one out. I am going to tell you, you're looking for a verb in number 4. You're looking for a verb. So use the context, use the part of speech, and try and figure it out that way. Cleaned up the tangle of tools in Dad's workroom. I believe you should all recognize that one. If you have trouble with it, you can go ahead and Google it. A meeting that turned into a mockery. Think about when someone talks about mocking. That's the context that we're looking for here. Use that connected word to really figure out this definition. Saw that the wolf had returned to its hiding place. You guys have got that one. You do not need me. Will attempt to halt the passing of the law. Halt. That's all I'm going to say. You're going to be able to figure the rest out. Trying to sidestep her responsibilities. Try and visualize this one and let that help you. And think about the context. What might this sentence, this phrase be trying to tell us? Would hang on like a leech. Remember, I would not recommend Googling this one because you're going to get some gross stuff. Leech is a sort of slug-like critter that lives underwater and enjoys attaching to other critters and sucking their blood, which is gross and not something you want to see pictures of when you Google it. So if you don't already know what that one means, just trust me and use that context to try and figure it out. Now, antonyms, I'm just looking carefully. All of those ones look like they should be easy. I'm not going to go through every single one. I think that you can figure those ones out. And if you get stuck, remember there are lots of resources around you. You can always use the internet to do a quick search. You can always ask someone in your family or in your house. You can always send me a message on Jupiter, and I would be happy to respond as soon as I can to really help you out with that. I miss you guys a lot. I hope that you are enjoying these video experiences, and have a wonderful rest of your day.